Erev Chag HaSukkos. It is the 14th day of the month of Tishrei, and we are back at our regular time, even for one day, Timidim Kesidram, in this beautiful time period between Yom Kippur and Chag HaSukkos. Let's send out the link here. Okay, and we left off at the end of at the top of Daf Mem Amud Beis, the very top line of Mem Amud Beis. The Gemara tells us as follows: Hahu arva dechiti. There was a certain ship that was carrying grain. The tava bechishta, that sank in Chishta, and it sank just before Pesach. And Shari Rava lizvun l'nachrim. And Rava allowed the owner of the ship to sell the grain to Nachrim. So what's the concern here? Is that you have a ship filled with grain, the ship sinks. So now all of this grain got wet. And you haul up the ship with all of the grain and all of it soaking wet, and you dry it out. And now you want to know, what are we going to do with this? So any other time, go ahead and sell it to Yidden, no problem. The problem is now that this might have invisible chametz in it. And this is before Pesach, so there's no concern of hana from the chametz on Pesach or after Pesach. This is all before Pesach. So Rava allowed this to be sold to Nachrim. Eisvi Rabba bar Levoy le Rava. Rabba bar Levoy challenges Rava on this and says, I don't understand how you are matter. Because we have a principle, beged. If you have a garment, you have an item of clothing, that you lost the kilaim in it, meaning a clothing made out of wool, there's one thread of linen in it, you know that there's linen in it, you have no idea where, or the other way around, it's linen, there's one thread of wool, and you can't for the life of you find where this thread is. What do? You know that there's kilaim here. Nobody's going to be able to find it. What do? So, you are not allowed to sell it to a nachri. What's the concern? Because you're going to end up, Rashi says, the whole ve'in kilaim shebenicharim, since the kilaim that's there is not noticeable. Asil is vunei hai nachri Yisrael. This non-Jew is going to sell it to his neighbor, the Jew. And the Jew is going to end up wearing it, and he's not going to know that there was any kilaim in it. And now you've inadvertently caused somebody to violate in a sidaraisa. You're also not allowed to make a saddle cloth for a donkey. Meaning, you're going to take this piece of material, you're going to make it into a seat cover for your car. What's going to happen is that at some point in time, you're going to say, I don't need it over here. Let's wash it. We're going to use it for basically, it's going to get very cold this winter. We're going to use it for a blanket. We're going to use it for a sweater, whatever it is. People are going to forget what exactly it is and why it's there. But you can make tachrichin for a mace. You are allowed to turn it into burial shrouds for a dead person. And Rashi points out why. Because there's already an isur on using tachrichin for a mace for anything else. Meaning that's already asa b'hana. What about the mace himself? No problem. Mace is not chayiv in mitzvahs, and therefore you are allowed to put this as tachrichin for the mace. Says the Gemara, my time why you're not allowed to sell it to a non-Jew? Is not because you're going to end up selling it to a Jew. And how would you allow all of this wheat on the ship to be sold to a non-Jew? Maybe he's going to sell it to a non-Jew. Maybe the non-Jew is going to sell it to a Jew. Rather than said, so then I have a better suggestion. Rather than selling it to a non-Jew, is le zavinu kava liyisol. Sell it only in small quantities to a Jew, so that you can be sure that it'll all be finished before Pesach. Meaning, don't sell it, the whole bag full of grain, to a Jew. Sell it only to Jews, and sell it with only a little bit at a time, and use it to make sure that it's used up before Pesach. If you're selling it cover to a Jew, means even to a Jew. But if you would sell it to an achri in such a way that it would for sure be used before Pesach as well, that would be much better. Says the Gemara as follows: Tana Rabban, Tanur Rabbanan, the rabbis taught in Brisa, Ein Malim Mesakeder Pesach. You should not mash something into a pot on Pesach. What exactly are we mashing into this pot? So Rashi says, Bekemach, Kari Melila, Shenoisim Kemach Latavshel. When you grind flour into your tavshel, your cholent, you grind grain into the cholent. That's called melila, being molel. And if you want to do this, first what you should do is put in the flour, and then put in vinegar. And there are those that say you can even put in the vinegar first and then put in the flour. Meaning, the concern obviously is that you mix flour into your tavshel, to thicken it. It'll turn it from a liquid into a sauce, right? You mix flour into it; it's going to thicken it. So you want to thicken your stew. So you can put in kemach, you put in flour, and then you put in the vinegar. That's the order of operations. Because Rashi says the ein hachometz manichoy lahachmetz lefi shemavashla. Because the chometz, the vinegar, is not going to allow it to turn into chometz, because the vinegar is going to pickle it immediately. And there are those that say that you can put the vinegar first and then put in the flour. It says the Gemara, Man yesh omrim. Who is this yesh omrim? Amar of Chisda, Rabbi Yehuda. That this is the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Ditnan, Rabbi Yehuda taught us as follows: Hay ilfas v'akadera shevirin. You have an ilfas, a pan, v'akadera, and a pot. Shevirin merusachim, that you took off the fire while it is still burning hot. And this was did on Shabbos. Lo yiten l'seicha tavshel. Don't put spices directly into it, because if you put spices into a kli rishon on Shabbos, then you have violated the issur of cooking on Shabbos. The tavlin, the spices are going to cook immediately once you put it into this burning hot tavshel. But you can put it onto your plate. So that's a klisheni already, right? You dished up your bowl from the big bowl of cholent. You can put it into your bowl. That's not a problem. That is going to be a klisheni. Or into the pot that you took from the big pot on the stove. You dished it into a small pot to put on the table. That's also going to be a that's also going to be a klisheni. Rabbi Yehuda says la kol nas, and put it into everything chutz midavar sheyesh by chometz v'tzir. So long as you can put it into anything except for something that has chometz v'tzir, that has vinegar or bran. Why? Because the vinegar, the bran, is going to make sure that it cooks very, very quickly. Which means that even if it be a klisheni, if there's vinegar there, then it's all going to make it super cooked. Which means that that when we are trying to make sure that the flour cooks before it becomes chametz, so that's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. It says the Gemara, v'nukma ka Rabbi Yossi, and we can say that this opinion also goes like Rabbi Yossi. Like the Rabbi Yossi that we saw yesterday, the Taina Rabbi Yossi says, "Sharon b'chometz tzomtzon," that if you have grains, if you have your wheat kernels, and you wanted to soften them, you wanted to soak them, so Sharon b'chometz, you can put them in chometz in vinegar. But chometz tzomtzon, and the chometz is going to make sure that it clamps up, that it stays sealed. Meaning that this is the effect of vinegar. It's going to bond it. It's going to make sure that it doesn't become chametz. Ki ashma ina le Rabbi Yossi, when they ki ashma ina le Rabbi Yossi, when we now explains why didn't we say this is the opinion of Rabbi Yossi? When we heard this opinion of Rabbi Yossi, that is only when it is by itself. But we have no indication that Rabbi Yossi holds that chametz is going to prevent chametz. That vinegar is going to prevent the chametz process if it is in a tavshel. We have this by Rabbi Yehuda. We don't have this by Rabbi Yossi. Ula Amar, Ula said as follows: Echad zeh ve'echad zeh aser. Both ways of putting flour into your cholent, your kosher pesach cholent, are going to be aser. Whether you put the vinegar first or you put the flour first and then you put the vinegar, or vinegar and then flour, either way it's going to be aser. Why? Mishum lech amrin nazira schar lekarma lo yisikrav. Because of a principle that we have with regards to a nazir. If you have a nazir is not allowed to have wine. He's also not allowed to have grape juice. He's also not allowed to have grapes. So what do we say to him? We tell the nazir, go away. Schar lekarma. Go all the way around the vineyard. Do not make a shortcut through the vineyard. Why? Lekarma lo yisikrav. Don't come anywhere near to this vineyard. Effectively, says Ula, you're quite literally playing with an Isakaris here. If you mess up the order, or you have the wrong ratios, or it's not quite mixed in fully, you're going to end up making chametz. You're going to end up making chametz the moment that you put the vinegar or the flour into the pot. It's going to end up being chametz. You shouldn't even get close to beginning. Says the Gemara, Rav Papi Sharile le Burdiki de Bei Reish Kalusa. Rav Papi allowed the Burdiki, means the bakers in the house of the Reish Kalusa, lemimcha kedei Rebbe Chazizi, to mash grain, to mash these grains into the cholent pot. Amar Rava said, Ike deshari. Is there really anybody that allows? Shari, is there anybody that permits this? Bichlal says ki hai milsa, this kind of thing. Says beduchta de shchichi avde, in a place that you have servants. Meaning, even if you wanted to say not like Ula, that you should stay far away from this, nobody in their right mind would allow this for the Nachri workers at home. Why? Because even if you're going to be makel for yourself, to be makel with your housekeeper, that's very, very dangerous. Why? So says the Gemara, those that said Rav Gufa Rav himself made this dish with dried grains. That he made such a dish on Pesach, but to do it with the non-Jewish workers, that would be ridiculous. Says Rashi here, because whatever you allow the workers to do, they'll be mezalzel with the Yisurim even further. Okay, next Mishnah on Mem Amud Beis says the Mishnah as follows: Don't put. You're not allowed to put flour into charoses. This is not the charoses that we know from the Seder. This charoses is some dish that Rashi says here. V'yesh by chometz. It has some kind of vinegar in it, and also le tabel by basar, and people would use it as a condiment. You dip your meat into it. Says the Mishnah, or into mustard. Meaning, don't put flour into charoses because of the vinegar, or letachardel because of the, what are you concerned that it's going to become chametz? V'im nasan, and if you did yachal miyad, you should eat it right away, meaning before it has a chance to become chametz. Reb Meir says, don't even start with us; it is all asur. Ein mevashlin es haPesach, and now we're dealing with regards to the korban Pesach itself. The din is that the korban Pesach has to be roasted. Ein mevashlin es haPesach, you are not allowed to cook the korban Pesach. V'loi b'mashkin, not with any liquids. V'loi b'meiperes, and not with fruit juice. Aval sachin, but you can baste it. And you can dip it while you're eating it. Meaning, The whole process has to be roasted and not cooked, but you can put liquid on top of it so that charet doesn't burn. That's basting, and you're allowed to dip it in. That is into condiments. That is also okay. Says the Gemara. If you have waters that come from a bakery, meaning the waters that the baker uses to wash his hands, to wash his dishes, to wash his kelim, they should all be spilled out because there's chametz inside of it. When the baker washes his hands, he's washing some flour, some whatever it is. You're going to end up with a chametz stick of water. Says the Gemara. Amar Rav Kahana said as follows: Machlokes l'say chardal. There's a machlokes with regards to putting kemach flour into the chardal, into the vinegar. But there was never a machlokes with regards to the charoses. Everybody thinks that you should burn it immediately. We have a brisa that says the following as well: you should never put flour into charoses. If you did it, you should burn it immediately. If you put it into mustard, Rav says yisar miyad. Rav Meir says burn it, like you have to destroy it, like the Mishnah says that Rav Meir is yisar. Chacham say yachal miyad. You should make sure that it is eaten right away. Amar Rav Huna bereile de Rabbi Yehuda. Amar Rav Nachman. Amar Shmuel. Says Rav Huna, the son of Rabbi Yehuda, in the name of Rav Nachman, in the name of Shmuel. Halacha divrei chacham. The halacha is like the chachamim that we can be mekel with charoses, but not with chardal. Amar lei Rav Nachman Yitzchak Rav Huna berei de Rav Yehuda. Tell me the page. Charoses kam amar. Did you say regarding to with regards to charoses that it's going to become chametz or did you say this with regards to chardal, with regards to mustard? Amalei, he says, what's the difference? What's the difference? The Rav Kahana, the Amar Rav Kahana, machlokes l'sech chardal, aval l'sech charoses divrei hakol yisar miyad. According to Rav Kahana, the machlokes is only about chardal, but if you put it into charoses, everybody says you should burn it immediately. We'll continue with the rest of the sugya of Mem Aleph Amud Aleph on Yantif, and for those that are not going to be present, listening live, Pesachim, to record Mem Aleph, we'll do the whole thing again on Matzei Yantif in the sukkah. Pesachim, and we'll see you then.